Today we are going to talk about 6 reasons why your portable hard disk or USB is not the right digital storage solution in your digitization process. And this is because I've been having conversations with the clients in the discovery calls that we take them through. Because when you're taking them through these discovery calls, you always want to know how they are going to store their digital documents, how are they planning to access their digital documents, how are they going to index the classification process, is it how are they do they want to be able to access them in real time? Do they have a retention policy in place, or are they planning on having one? And many other questions in that process. But what I discovered is most of the clients prefer most there are some clients who usually talk about having their documents stored in the hard disk or the USB. And yet I am not very comfortable with this solution. And that is why I'm going to talk about why it might not be the right solution for you. So one of the reasons why I don't agree with them on this digital storage solution is it can be misplaced. It can be easily misplaced. And I usually relate it to paper document because by the time the clients are reaching out to convert their paper document into a digital document, it's because they're not able to access them. They're easily misplaced, or some are even lost altogether. And this is the same with the hard disk or the USB. It can get misplaced. I can even give an example of this. Was last year. I had a discussion with the client that the digital, the USB might not work for them. Even as a backup, it might not work for them because it's something that is moving around. So sometimes it can be misplaced. Sometimes you can't even tell who really is holding that disk for it to be used. And this is something that I even put across to a client who reached out the other day, though he insisted they have SOPs in place. But mark you, this is being handled by human beings, and human beings, we are unto error. So the possibility of it being misplaced is very high. So it is better to take precautions beforehand of the risks involved when handling the USB or the hard disk. So I would advise clients to look for another solution, either cloud storage or they get a EDMS in place, simple EDMS, so that they are able to access their documents easily. And then number two, accessing documents is a bit manual. Is manual in when you're using the hard disk or the USB, and this is why you have to have the USB to access the documents. So that means you have to be in the office to be able to access the documents if the USB is in the office. But if it is being handled by another person, somebody else managing this USB, you have to wait for this person to be available in the office space to be able to access this USB. In contrast to having a cloud storage or an EDMS, whereby somebody can access the documents even when they're out of office. They can access it even when they are working remotely. But with the USB, you have to have it at hand. And when it comes to access control, it is not handy because the documents are stored in one USB. So anybody who gets hold of that USB is able to access all the documents inside the USB. So having control is hard when you're having access control is hard when you're having the USB in place. Number three, it cannot work as a document management solution. And this is why. If you wanted to have if you want to have access control where specific people are able to access specific documents, if you want a history, the versioning of having a history of the documents when they are being revised in real time, when you want the document to be searchable, when you want to access these documents within and without out of the office, it becomes difficult with a USB. So it cannot work as a DMS for you. So if you want to have those advantages over DMS, the USB is not a viable solution. The cloud storage can work for you. The cloud storage can work for you, but the hard disk or the USB will not work for you as a document management solution. And then number four, retention policy. You might be having the retention policy in place, or you're planning to to create a retention policy which guides you on which documents are supposed to be retained and which ones are supposed to be disposed. In a USB, it cannot be automated. In a USB, it has to be done manually. And as human beings, we tend to forget. So if there is no consistency in managing the retention period of documents, the documents will keep on accumulating, and managing them will become very difficult. Managing the digital documents will become difficult in this USB or this hard disk. So somebody has to be there to manage the retention guideline. And this one is time wasted that can be used somewhere else. Number 5, it is not durable. It cannot last. It can get corrupted. Then what happens to your documents? That means you've lost your documents because the USB or the hard disk, they are not durable. They have an expiry time period. So if you are storing your documents temporarily, it is okay. But if it is for managing your documents, I would not advise you to use the portable hard disk or the USB because it will give you shockers. Number 6, hard to share. So how do you share this USB among members? Do you create several backups of this USB to give to each member, or it's only one member who will handle it? I remember one client was telling me that they have an SOP in place on how to handle the documents. But yes, SOPs might be in place, but will it help in managing the risks? I don't think so. So these are just the six reasons why I don't advocate for portable hard disk or USB. I can give the summary of this. 1, it can be misplaced. 2, accessing it is totally manual. And then 3, it cannot work as a document management solution. And then number 4, the retention of the document is managed manually. And then number 5, it is not durable. It can be corrupted. And then number 6, it is hard to share among members, especially when it is being used in a company, even a small company. But if you are just one individual in that company, a solopreneur, then it would be okay to have the USB and also have backups of the same USB for just in case anything happens. So I would not advocate for you to use a hard disk or a USB to store your digital documents. It would make it very it would not it is a risk that I would want you to avoid.